Refusing to put my brother's name on the deed to my apartment after I saved for 7 years to buy it? I, 29M, need to get this off my chest because my entire family thinks I'm the villain, and I'm starting to question my own sanity. This is long, but I need people to understand the full picture. Background: the golden child and the workhorse. Growing up, I was always the strong one. My older brother, 34M, was the sensitive one who needed extra support. The favoritism wasn't subtle. It was so blatant that extended family members noticed and made comments about it. But no one ever said anything to my parents. Every time my brother failed a class, it was because the teacher didn't understand him. My mom would storm into the school, demanding conferences, threatening to go to the principal. Every time he lost a job, and there were many, it was because the boss was unfair, the co-workers were jealous, the hours were unreasonable. There was always an external reason, never any accountability. Every time he needed money, my parents opened their wallets without question. I remember once, when I was about 12 and he was 17, we both asked for money in the same week. He wanted $200 for concert tickets. I wanted $30 for a school field trip to a science museum. He got his concert tickets that night. I was told to wait until next month, and when next month came, the trip had already happened. I learned something that day. My needs would always come second. I learned early that I was on my own. When I wanted new shoes for basketball tryouts at 14, my dad told me to mow lawns if I wanted them that badly. When my brother wanted a new gaming console at 19, they bought it for him because he'd been having a hard time. I started working at 16. Fast food, retail, warehouse jobs during summers. Every paycheck went into savings. My parents never asked me about my grades because they assumed I'd handle it. They never asked about my mental health because I was the tough one. All their energy, their worry, their support, it went to my brother, who bounced from job to job like it was a sport. At 21, I moved out. I rented the cheapest room I could find in a shared apartment with 3 other guys. 1 bathroom for 4 people. No air conditioning. I worked 2 jobs for 3 years straight. Overnight warehouse shifts during the week, bartending on weekends. I ate rice and beans. I skipped vacations. I said no to trips with friends, to concerts, to everything that cost money I could be saving. My parents never offered to help. Not once. When I mentioned how exhausted I was working 2 jobs, my mom said, "You're young and strong. You'll be fine." When I asked if I could borrow $500 for an emergency car repair, my dad said, "You've always been independent. Figure it out." Meanwhile, my brother was 27, living in my parents' basement, working part-time at a video store, yes, those still existed, spending his money on video games and takeout. My parents covered his car insurance, his phone bill, his meals. They said he was finding himself. I found myself too. I found that I was alone. The achievement: 7 years, $143,000, and every sacrifice I made. 7 years. That's how long it took me to save $143,000. Dollar by dollar. Overtime shift by overtime shift. Saying no to everything that wasn't essential. Watching my friends buy cars and take vacations while I drove a 15-year-old Honda and spent my weekends working. I missed weddings because I couldn't afford the travel and gifts. I skipped birthday dinners because restaurant tabs added up. I wore the same work clothes for years, only replacing them when they literally fell apart. I learned to cook cheap, hearty meals, beans and rice, pasta with Jared sauce, chicken thighs bought in bulk when they went on sale. I knew the markdown schedule at every grocery store in a 10-mile radius. My social life essentially died. Friends stopped inviting me to things because I always said no. Eventually, most of them drifted away entirely. The loneliness was crushing sometimes. I'd come home from a double shift at 2 a.m. to an empty apartment, too tired to eat, too wired to sleep, and I'd wonder if any of this was worth it. But I kept going. Because I had a goal. Because I knew that if I didn't build something for myself, no one else would. When I finally found the apartment, small, modest, nothing fancy, I paid cash. No mortgage. No debt. Just mine. The day I signed those papers was the proudest moment of my life. I sat in my car in the parking lot of the title company and cried. Ugly, heaving sobs. 7 years of sacrifice, and I'd actually done it. I owned something. Something no one could take from me. I called my parents to share the news, expecting, I don't know, something. Pride. Congratulations. Recognition that their son had achieved something through pure determination. My mom's response: must be nice to have that kind of money. My dad: well, some people are better at saving than others. My brother texted me later, some people have all the luck. Luck. I worked 70-hour weeks for years. I sacrificed everything. And he called it luck. No congratulations. No pride. Just resentment I didn't understand. But I brushed it off. I had my apartment. That was enough. I was wrong. The demand, family shares everything. 3 months after I moved in, my parents invited me to dinner. They said they wanted to celebrate my new place. I was genuinely happy. Maybe they'd finally come around. I should have known better. When I arrived, the atmosphere was strange. Formal. My brother was there too, which was unusual for a family dinner. They sat me down at the dining table like it was an intervention. My mom started, "We need to have a serious conversation about your brother's future." I felt my stomach drop. My dad took over, "Your brother is 34 years old. He has nothing. No apartment, no savings, no stability. You have an apartment now. Family helps family." I waited, not sure where this was going. My mom reached across the table and put her hand on mine. "We think you should put his name on the deed. 50/50ths. It's only fair." I actually laughed. I thought it was a joke. Nobody else laughed. "You're serious," I said. "Dead serious," my dad replied. "You have more than you need. He has nothing. What kind of brother hoards everything for himself?" I pulled my hand back from my mom. "I worked for 7 years to buy that apartment. 2 jobs. No vacations. No help from anyone. I earned this." My mom's face hardened. "And your brother had bad luck. Life isn't fair. Family balances things out." "He's 34 and has never kept a job for more than 6 months," I said. "That's not bad luck. That's choices." The room exploded. My dad slammed his hand on the table. "You've always been jealous of him. Always thought you were better than everyone else. Now you have a chance to be a good brother, and you refuse. How is giving away half my apartment being a good brother?" I asked. "How is that fair to me?" "You don't need the whole thing," my mom said. "He needs a start. You can give him that." "I needed a start too," I said. "Where was his help when I was working overnight shifts at 22? Where was yours?" Silence. Then my dad, "You didn't need help. You're different." Different. That word hit me like a punch. I was different because I never asked for anything. I was different because I handled everything alone. And now, because I handled it alone, I owed my brother half of what I built. I stood up. "I'm not putting his name on my deed. This conversation is over." I walked out. My mother was crying before I reached the door. The guilt campaign, making me the villain. The calls started the next morning. My mom, sobbing into the phone, "Your father couldn't sleep last night. You broke his heart. How did we raise such a selfish son?" I tried to explain again. She wasn't listening. My brother texted me an hour later, "Thanks for nothing. Always knew you didn't care about family." Then my aunt called. "Your parents told me what happened. I'm so disappointed in you. Your brother is struggling, and you're turning your back on him." Then my uncle. Same script. Then my cousins. Everyone had heard my parents' version of the story. Their son bought an apartment and refuses to share it with his homeless brother. The family is heartbroken. He's tearing us apart. Nobody asked for my side. Nobody wanted to hear about the 7 years. The 2 jobs. The sacrifices. In their story, I was a selfish hoarder who had more than enough and wouldn't share with family. They called me selfish. I saved for 7 years while they supported him. I asked for nothing while he took everything. But I'm the selfish one because I won't give away what I earned. Update 1. The manipulation. Just let me stay for a few months. 3 weeks after the dinner, my brother showed up at my apartment unannounced. He looked terrible. Unshaven, wrinkled clothes, red eyes like he'd been crying. "I know I messed up in life," he said. "I'm not here to fight. I'm trying to change. Mom and Dad are suffocating me. I can't grow while I'm living with them. Can I stay with you for a few months? Just until I get on my feet." I stood in my doorway, every instinct screaming no. But he's my brother. Despite everything, he's my brother. "A few months," I said. "You help with utilities. You look for work. And this isn't about the deed. This is just family helping family." He hugged me. "Thank you. You won't regret this." I let him move into my spare room. First week, he was grateful, helpful, almost pleasant. He cleaned up after himself. He talked about job applications he was submitting. Second week, the cleaning stopped. He started sleeping until noon. The job applications became vague and infrequent. Third week, he had friends over without asking. They left beer cans on my coffee table and pizza boxes on the counter. When I confronted him, he said I was being uptight. Fourth week, I came home early from work and heard him on the phone in his room. He didn't hear me come in. "I'm working on him," he was saying. "Give me time. Once I'm established here, he can't kick me out." Then we push for the deed. I stood frozen in my hallway, listening to my brother conspire to take my home. My mom's voice came through the phone, tinny but clear. "Good. Keep us updated. He'll come around eventually." He researched tenant rights before he even moved in. He knew exactly how long he had to stay to make eviction difficult. This wasn't family helping family. This was a calculated scheme to steal my home. And my parents were coaching him. Update 2. The confrontation and the eviction notice. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying that phone call in my mind. The next morning, I knocked on his door. "We need to talk." He came out looking confused, still in his boxers at 11 a.m. "What's up?" "I heard your phone call yesterday. With Mom. About establishing yourself here so I can't kick you out. About pushing for the deed." His face went through several emotions: surprise, then calculation, then something cold. "You were eavesdropping? In my own apartment?" "Yeah, I was." He leaned against the doorframe, and I watched the mask fall away. The grateful brother, the one trying to change, gone. In his place was someone I barely recognized. "This apartment should be half mine anyway," he said. "You got lucky. You had it easy. I got nothing. Mom and Dad agree. Stop being selfish and share what you have." "I worked 2 jobs for 7 years," I said. "So? I had struggles you'll never understand. You don't know what it's like to get out. No." He smiled. Actually smiled. "Make me. I have tenant rights. I've been here almost a month. You can't just throw me out." My blood went cold. He'd done his homework. I spent that afternoon on the phone with lawyers and police. What I learned made me sick. In my state, after 30 days of residence, someone gains legal tenant status. My brother had been there 26 days. If I let him stay 4 more days, evicting him would require a formal legal process that could take months. I typed up a written eviction notice that same day. 30 days to vacate the premises. "You're kicking me out," he said when I handed it to him. "I'm your brother. You're a 34-year-old man who planned to steal my apartment. Get out in 30 days, or I'll have you removed." He took the paper and laughed. "We'll see about that." Update 3. The legal battle. He didn't leave. Day 30 came and went. My brother was still in my spare room, eating my food, using my electricity, inviting his friends over like he owned the place. When I reminded him that the eviction notice period had ended, he laughed and said, "Call the cops then. See what happens." I did call. The officer who came was sympathetic but firm. "It's a civil matter now. You need to go through the courts." So I filed a formal eviction through the courts. My brother, of course, got free legal aid. His lawyer filed every delay possible. Continuances. Extensions. Requests for more time. Claims that he needed to find alternative housing and needed reasonable accommodation. 3 more months. I spent 3 more months living with someone who was actively trying to take my home. During this time, my life became a waking nightmare. He never paid a penny toward utilities or food. I calculated once. He probably cost me an additional $1,500 over those 3 months in groceries and electricity alone. When I tried to lock my food in my bedroom, he told his lawyer I was creating a hostile living environment. He ate everything in my refrigerator and complained when I didn't buy what he wanted. Once, I came home to find he'd ordered $80 worth of delivery using my credit card, which I'd accidentally left on the kitchen counter. "You can afford it," he said when I confronted him. He had people over constantly, treating my apartment like a party house. There were strangers in my home at all hours. I once woke up at 3 a.m. to find someone I'd never met sleeping on my couch. He told everyone we knew that I was trying to make him homeless. Our mutual acquaintances, old family friends, even neighbors, he spun his story to anyone who would listen. I was the villain. He was the victim. My parents called me every week to berate me for being cruel, and to remind me that I could end this any time by putting him on the deed. My mother actually said once, You're letting a piece of paper destroy your family. As if the apartment were just paper. As if 7 years of my life were nothing. I became a prisoner in my own home. I couldn't have friends over without my brother making snide comments or interrupting conversations. I couldn't cook without him hovering, waiting to eat what I made. I couldn't relax without hearing his music through the walls, deliberately loud, deliberately at the worst times. I stopped sleeping well. I lost weight. My work performance suffered. I was constantly on edge, waiting for the next confrontation, the next scheme, the next way he'd try to make my life miserable. I heard him on the phone once, talking to my mom. Once I'm established here, he can't kick me out. Then we push for the deed. My own brother, planning to take my home, while eating my food and sleeping in my guest room. And my parents were coaching him. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the court date arrived. The judge saw through everything in about 15 minutes. My brother had no lease, no rent agreement, no claim to the property. He was a guest who had overstayed and was now using the legal system to delay his removal. "Sir," the judge said to my brother, "you have no legal right to this property. The eviction is granted. You have 48 hours to vacate, or the sheriff will remove you." My brother tried to argue. The judge cut him off. 2 days later, a sheriff's deputy watched as my brother loaded his belongings into our dad's car. He didn't say a word to me as he left. When he was gone, I walked through my apartment slowly, checked every room, made sure he hadn't left anything behind. Then I sat on my couch, in the silence, and cried. Not because I missed him. Because I finally had my home back. Update 4. The aftermath and the long silence. My brother moved back in with my parents. They welcomed him like a returning hero, a soldier coming home from an unjust war. Me? I was cut off completely. My parents blocked my number. When I tried calling from a different phone, my mom answered and immediately hung up when she heard my voice. When I tried to visit, my dad wouldn't open the door. He spoke through it. "You're no son of mine. Don't come back." My father said that because I wouldn't give his favorite child my apartment. 29 years of being the good son, the responsible one, the one who never asked for anything, the one who figured it out, the one who didn't need help. And I was disowned for having boundaries. I stood on that doorstep for a long time, staring at the closed door, listening to the silence on the other side. I thought about all the times I'd stood in that same spot as a kid, coming home from school, from work, from wherever life had taken me that day. I thought about holiday mornings and summer barbecues and all the ordinary moments that make up a family. And I realized that all of it, every memory, every moment, was now behind a locked door. My aunt texted me, "The family thinks it's best if you give everyone some space." Holiday invitations stopped. My cousin's wedding, I wasn't invited. When I found out about it through social media, I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. Thanksgiving, Christmas, family birthdays, nothing. I was erased. I became the family villain for owning an apartment and not giving it away. Everyone says, "But he's your brother." He's a 34-year-old man who has never supported himself, never held a job for a full year, never taken responsibility for any failure in his life. When do we stop excusing someone because they're family? When does he become responsible for his own life? At 40? At 50? Never. The silence was deafening. I'd never realized how much of my identity was tied to being part of a family, even a dysfunctional one. Now I had my apartment, my job, my life, but no one to share it with. Some days I was angry. Some days I was numb. Some days I wondered if I'd made a terrible mistake. But then I'd remember my brother's voice on that phone call. "Once I'm established here, he can't kick me out." And I'd remember that I didn't lose my family. They lost me. Update 5. The truth comes out. 1 year later. I'd settled into my new normal. Work, home, weekends alone. I'd made some friends, started dating a little, tried to build a life outside the family that had discarded me. Then my aunt texted me out of nowhere. "Can we talk?" Privately. We met at a coffee shop. She looked uncomfortable. "I owe you an apology," she said. "I believed your parents. I thought you were being selfish. But something happened at Thanksgiving. I waited. Your brother got drunk. Started bragging. He told everyone at the table how he almost got the apartment, but you lawyered up before he could establish residency. He was laughing about it, talking about how he would have owned half your place if you hadn't caught on. I felt sick. He was bragging about trying to steal from you," my aunt continued. "In front of everyone. Your parents tried to shut him up, but it was too late. Everyone heard." What did people say? Your uncle was furious. Your cousins started asking questions. The story your parents told us, it didn't match what your brother was saying. He made it sound like a scheme. Because it was. She reached across the table and touched my hand. I'm sorry I didn't ask for your side. I should have. In the months that followed, some family members reached out. My uncle called to apologize. A few cousins sent messages. We didn't know, they said. We're sorry. Not everyone. My parents never contacted me. They never apologized, never admitted what they'd done. According to my aunt, they still defend my brother. They still blame me for tearing the family apart. My brother still lives with them. He's 35 now. Still no stable job. Still no savings. Still blaming everyone else for his failures. Some things never change. Final reflection. The quiet victory. It's been just over a year since the eviction. I'm sitting in my apartment as I write this. It's Christmas Eve. The place looks good now. Nice furniture I bought myself. Walls I painted. A small tree in the corner with a few presents underneath. Gifts I bought for myself, because why not? My phone buzzes. It's my aunt. Merry Christmas. Thinking of you. I type a response, delete it, type again. Finally send, Merry Christmas. I set the phone down and look around at everything I built. I have my apartment. No one can take it. I won. But I'm eating Christmas dinner alone because I wouldn't give my brother something he didn't earn. My parents chose him. They'll always choose him. And I have to live with being the son who said no. The selfish one. The villain in their story. I know the truth. I know what I sacrificed, what I built, what I protected. But knowing you're right doesn't keep you company on holidays. Being strong doesn't fill an empty chair at your table. Mom said, family balances things out. It only balanced one way. Him taking, me giving. That's not balance. That's being a host to a parasite. Some days I know it was worth it. Some days I'm not sure anything is worth this silence. Conclusion. People ask if I regret saying no. I don't. I regret that saying no was necessary. I regret having a brother who saw me as a source of free housing rather than family. I regret having parents who saw my success as something to redistribute rather than celebrate. I regret being in a family where the hardest worker is treated as the villain for wanting to keep what he earned. But I don't regret the no. That no protected everything I built. That no taught me who my family really is. That no was the first time I chose myself after 29 years of being the one who gives and gets nothing in return. The apartment is quiet now. Some nights too quiet. But it's mine. Every wall, every room, every dollar that bought it, mine. And nobody, not even blood, is entitled to what I built. That's not selfish. That's survival. I just wish surviving didn't cost so much. Edit. Thank you everyone for the support. I wasn't expecting this post to get so much attention. To answer some common questions. Yes, I've thought about therapy. I started a few months ago. It helps. No, I won't be reaching out to my parents. They know where I am if they ever want to apologize. For those asking, the apartment is worth a lot more now than what I paid. Not that it matters. I bought it for me, not as an investment. To everyone who shared similar stories, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that so many of us have families like this. But I'm also glad we found each other. Stay strong. Protect what's yours. And remember, boundaries aren't selfish. They're necessary. 7 years. I worked 7 years for that apartment. 2 jobs, no vacations, counting every dollar. They wanted me to give half to someone who's never worked a full year in his life. And when I said no, I became the villain. But I'd rather be the villain in their story than the victim in mine.